Summit is brought to you by us, Zoe Hawkins and Joe Wheatley from Inga Company, a global coaching training organisation. It is our mission to make coaching as accessible as possible to as many people as possible, and this coaching summit is one of the ways in which we do that. If you'd like to connect with us outside of this summit, then please follow us on Instagram, connect with us on LinkedIn, or join our Facebook group, The Coaching Crowd. We encourage you to share your learnings from these sessions and tag us in our social channels so we can share in the learning with you. But for now, sit back and enjoy the session. We can't wait to hear what you think.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this second session of the day with Sarah Richards. I'm Jo Wheatley. I'm one of the co-founders of Inga Company, who are hosts of this two-day coaching summit. Sarah, I've known for quite a while now, and I'm delighted to be able to introduce her to you. Sarah is a qualified and experienced positive mindset coach, and she works with solopreneurs and business owners to help them. And today her session is focusing on why mindset matters when you're a solopreneur and when you're in business or with your own coaching businesses. And she'll be focusing on how coaching and positive psychology can transform your thinking and in turn your business. So she's got lots of tips throughout her presentation, and we'll be sharing a really useful tool with you at the end of the session. So I know it's going to be a full session, and I'm looking forward to sharing it with you. So over to you, Sarah.
Thank you very much, Jo. All right, let me try to share my screen with you. Where are we? Hang on, I've just lost you all. Right, here we go. There, can everybody see my screen okay?
Yeah, that's great.
Thank you. Thank you for the lovely introduction, Jo. Thank you everyone for giving up your time to be here this morning. I hope you are all enjoying the summit as much as I am. It was a fabulous day yesterday. I am going to dive straight in. I will introduce myself at the end, but I'm going to start off with a question for you. If I can get my mouse to work. I would love if you could drop in the chat for me. Have you ever thought that you are secretly not good enough to do what you do and that someone is going to find you out eventually? If that is something that you have had, a thought that you've had, then drop it in the chat and let me know. So the chat is moving far too quickly for me. See, but I can see lots of yeses. Yes, absolutely. Right. Welcome to the club. You are in very good company. Lots of very famous faces here, all very accomplished, very well respected at the top of their game, all talking very openly about their feelings of feeling like a fraud and having imposter syndrome. So I'll give you a half a minute to read those read the quotes while I quickly read the chat. So I love this definition of imposter syndrome. It's the voice in your head that overlooks, discounts, and discredits your accomplishments. And a study in 2013 estimated that up to 70% of people may experience imposter syndrome at some time in their lives. I've had it when I first left corporate and set up my first business. Imposter syndrome held me back for ages. It's something that is really common that we all experience at some point. And why is it so important? It's important because we are filtering out all of the positive things that we know about ourselves, our accomplishments, our skills, our experience, and we're focusing in on that negative thought that we are not good enough. Who am I to be doing this? And if we're not careful, that thought can define us, and it can really shape how we show up in our business and what we do. So mindset matters. Mindset matters so much because our thoughts influence our feelings and our emotions, and they shape our behaviors. Everything comes down to our thoughts, how we interpret and respond to situations, the energy we put out in the world. Everything we do comes down to how we are thinking. And we can get stuck in a little bit of an unhelpful thought pattern or cycle. So with a negative belief like imposter syndrome, we can talk ourselves out of doing things. And a belief is simply a thought that we have over and over until we believe it to be true. And that can lead to emotions like self-doubt or fear. You know, we start to fear doing things. We're full of self-doubt. We're not really taking very much action. And we can be very busy behind the scenes, tweaking things, procrastinating, perfecting things, but we are not being visible in our business. We are not putting out offers, trying to attract new clients, and really not moving our businesses forward. And when we're not taking much action, we are not giving ourselves the opportunity to grow in confidence, doing things like talking at a coaching summit. It's how we grow in confidence. And we're not then, if we're not doing things and we're not really, putting offers out there, and we're not being very visible, we're not trying to grow our business, we're not going to really see very good results. And it feeds back into that belief of, who am I to be doing this? And all of the other types of negative thoughts that we have, maybe I should just go and get a job. What am I doing here? So mindset, really, we can really get stuck in this unhelpful thought pattern. So if you want to change your behavior, identify the fear and change the thought. And how coaching helps. I know that there are lots of very experienced coaches in the room, but for anyone who has not yet had any coaching or is curious about coaching, hopefully this will shine a little bit of a light on how coaching can help. So coaching gives us a safe space to get out of our own heads. How often do you get that opportunity to have 90 minutes or 60 minutes just talking all about yourself to somebody who is listening intently to you with no agenda other than to listen to what you have to say? It is a really magical place to be. In coaching, when a coach is like mirroring back what you're saying to you, the levels of self-awareness that we get raised are amazing. We gain new perspectives and we see things differently. Coaching gives us clarity and focus. So we look at where you are, what it is that you want, where you are now, what's keeping you stuck, what might come up for you, and how to move forward. And as a mindset coach, I dig deep into your beliefs and your mindset. And we find new and more helpful ways to think about something. And that's where the magic happens. Help you to identify how you can move forward in the way that is right for you. And coaching supports you to take action and gives you the tools to take away after coaching. And what we really want to have is a positive mindset loop rather than a negative mindset loop. So when we are having lots of positive thoughts, we are generating lots of positive emotions. We are feeling more inspired, more motivated, more excited about things. And in turn, those positive emotions are generating more positive thoughts. We get more ideas and we get, inspiration. And when we are having lots of positive thoughts and emotions, we are getting lots of feel-good chemicals being released in our brain, lots of dopamine and serotonin, which adds to our overall well-being and happiness. So it's a really nice place to be. And obviously, we are then starting to think about taking more action, and we're going to get better results. So when we have a positive mindset, we are more resilient. It's much easier to bounce back from a setback or from something that didn't quite go our way, because we are not caught in that unhelpful thought pattern of self-doubt and overthinking and being self-critical. We are much kinder to ourselves, less self-critical. With a positive mindset, we're more creative, feel inspired, motivated to keep taking positive action. And we're more open to opportunities and to keep learning and growing. And when you think about the unhelpful thought loop, then even if opportunity comes knocking with a big capital O, then either you might not see it or be like, no, go away, opportunity, I'm not quite ready for you yet. So in positive mindset cycle, you're much more likely to go for that opportunity. And we want this at every stage of our business, because as businesses grow and change, you start to do new things, launching a podcast, whatever it might be that you think that you'd like to do one day, then doing something new and having all those thoughts that come up, when you are able to work through those with a positive mindset, it becomes much easier. So how do we build and maintain a positive mindset? One of the ways that we can do this is to notice the way that we talk to ourselves and challenge our thoughts. A thought is just because we think it doesn't make it true. A thought is not a fact. We have the power to challenge our thoughts, and we can question them, get curious with them. We can reframe unhelpful negative thoughts into thoughts that are much more positive, more helpful, more resourceful for us. What we really want to do is rewire and train our brain to be more positive. And then we keep flexing our mindset muscle, because like any muscle that we have in the body, if we are not flexing it and keeping it well toned, it's not serving us quite so well. So mindset is always a work in progress. It's always something that we want to keep on working on. So notice the words that you use and the way that you talk to yourself. Are the labels that you give yourself and the words you use empowering? Are you imposing limits on yourself and your capability? Is the way that you think, talk to yourself helpful? Is it kind? Are you talking yourself down? And would you talk to a loved one the way you talk to yourself? If you hear a loved one talking themselves down, first instinct is to talk them back up and try to lift them up, isn't it? Do you do that for yourself? So I'm going to go through some automatic negative thought patterns that we can all get caught up in. And I would love for you to put in the chat and let me know which ones you resonate with here. Okay, so these are all well-researched, automatic sort of negative thought patterns that we can get into. So filtering is the first one. We've already talked a little bit about filtering with imposter syndrome, where we're filtering out, discounting all of the positive things that we know, and we're focusing in on the negative. So I sometimes like to think of it as 1 in 10. So if you get 10 reviews, 10 comments, and 9 of them are brilliant, and 1 of them is really negative, which one is going to take up all of your headspace when you are thinking about your comments and your reviews? It's going to be the one negative one, isn't it? Our brain has a negativity bias. It is filtered that, it is designed that way. It likes to focus in on the negative to keep us safe. It's like at the end of the day or the end of the week, when you are thinking about what you've done and you remember that you've forgotten to do something and you say, I forgot to do that thing, you start beating ourselves up about that thing that we didn't do. And we focus in on that one thing that we didn't do. Forget all of the 9, 10, 20, 30 good things that we did do today or this week, and we just think about that one thing that we didn't do. So filtering. Next one is labeling, where we are labeling ourselves and overgeneralizing based on an event or behavior. So as a society, we love labels, don't we? We label everything and everyone. I'm a mindset coach. She's an executive careers coach. She's a leadership coach. We give ourselves labels, senior managers, directors, CEOs. Labels give us, help us to make sense of things. So we all love labels, but labels can actually be really unhelpful. When we give ourselves labels, then we can limit ourselves by the labels that we give ourselves. So, you know, I'm a technophobe. Sort of limits my potential when I'm a techno. I couldn't possibly learn how to do that. I'm a technophobe. And already I'm restricting my potential and my possibilities by telling myself that I can't do it with the label that I give myself. Or sometimes you see people saying, you know, you do something a bit silly, you say, oh, I'm so stupid. Actually, I did a stupid thing, but it translates to I'm so stupid. And if we say that often enough and think that often enough, then it becomes the belief that isn't very helpful. So the next one is all or nothing, black and white thinking. So everything is awful or everything is fabulous, or as we say in Wales, fabulous. So I woke up late, the whole day's ruined. I always mess up. I'm never going to enjoy sales. It's that use of always and never, nothing in between, no shades of grey. And the next one is mind reading, which is my personal favourite and one that I have a master's in mind reading. So this is where we are presuming, or is it assuming? I never quite know. Presuming we know what someone else is thinking about us and assuming that it's negative. So my neighbour blanked me this morning. He didn't say hello to me. I wonder what I've done to upset him. Chances are my neighbour just didn't have his glasses on or his contact lenses in and he didn't even see me. But automatically I'm thinking, what have I done to upset him? So we do this so often. This last one is my worst trait. We do this so often that we don't even realise that we're doing it. And another one is future predicting, where we start to think we can predict the future. But of course, we always put that negativity bias on it. So, you know, why should I bother with the coaching summit? No one's going to show up to my session. These things, we just do them so often. And the way that we talk to ourselves sometimes, the way that we think about these things can start to hold us back. Quite capable of all of these. Yes, actually I am too, I must admit. So these are all things that have come up as sentences in coaching sessions. And again, fill in the blank. So let me know if these are things that you catch yourself or realize that you say quite often, you know, I'm rubbish at, I'm no good at, oh, I could never do that. I'm hopeless with money, I'm useless with money. I can't possibly charge that. I'm not worth that. Where we are sort of valuing ourselves as a business owner with the value of the service that we provide. And obviously our value is we are fabulous as we are, regardless of how much we charge in our business. Things like I hate selling, I hate social media, I hate tech. If you hate social media and you're never going to be using social media, that's great. But if you want to use social media to help to grow your business, then having that thought of I hate social media isn't as helpful as we would like it to be. I'm never going to be any good at, and I'm never going to enjoy. So I'll tell you a very quick story about a coaching client of mine. She didn't come to coaching for this reason. I was helping her with her business. She was an expat, or her mindset and doing more in her business. She's an expat living in Europe. And it came up in one of the coaching conversations that we were having that she doesn't speak the local language, and she'd been there for very many years and she'd never learned the language. And she actually felt quite guilty about the fact that she didn't learn the language, and it was holding her back in her business. But she was adamant that she couldn't do it. She didn't enjoy trying. She really hated it. And she said to me, I'm never going to be any good at it, and I'm never going to enjoy trying to learn it. So let's not go there. So we talked a little bit more about it. And I said, we had agreed to have a session on it. And we went through all of her thoughts and all of her feelings about learning this language. And we unpicked each one and looked at it from different perspectives and reframed all of the fears that she had and all of the things that she was worried about. And then we found ways that she could go out and start learning the language in fun, enjoyable ways that she would really enjoy. So that's what she did. She went off and started doing that. And the last time I checked in with her to have a catch up to see how she is, and I gave her some dates and times, and she came back, she said, I can't do that first time. I've organised a couple of hours with some friends. We're all going out to speak Spanish to each other for a couple of hours. So she's out there now all the time, learning Spanish and really enjoying it. It's just the power of the way that we talk to ourselves and how we can hold ourselves back without really realizing that we're doing it. And, you know, the difference that coaching can make to that. Some trends of mindsets I see when I'm talking to business owners and coaching are the three main ones that always come up, and perhaps you might feel the same. Visibility, showing up, being visible is one that people have some blocks around. Selling, the thought of selling, and money, thoughts about money, how much to charge, how much to invest. They're very common mindset types that come up. But when you change your thoughts and change your perspective, you can really open up a world of possibility and new potentials. So catch, check, and change. Start to step back, separate yourself from the thoughts. Is it really true? Is this thought empowering? Who would I be without this thought? And what would I do differently? What would be a more positive, empowering, helpful thought for me to have? I guarantee that if you spend a few weeks catching your thoughts and thinking about this, you will notice a ripple effect. You will start to pick up on where you're saying things and think, oh, I've said that. Oh, I'm filtering, I'm mind reading. And you will notice other people doing it too. You'll notice the way other people talk to themselves, and you'll catch them too. And if anyone didn't see Lou Lawson's session yesterday, all about negative self-talk, absolutely go back and watch that on replay when it comes out on replay, because that was a really great talk all about negative self-talk, and really well worth watching and doing the exercise that Lou took us through. So what we want to do is create new neural pathways in our brain where we have that negative, unhelpful thought process that we go through. It's like a well-worn pathway, neural pathway in our brain. It's well trodden. We go there automatically without thinking about it. And what we want to do is replace that old pathway with a new, better pathway. And when we stop going down that old pathway in our brain, it grows over and disappears. So I use this visual to help me. If you are somebody who likes romping around in the woods in dreary, grey, gloomy conditions, then this visual might not work quite so well for you, and you have to find one that does. But when I think about a lot of the negative, unhelpful thoughts that I used to have, I always thought of them as being very grey and gloomy. And they used to take me to a place where, you know, I didn't really want to go. It wasn't a nice place to be. Been stuck in that sort of overthinking thought cycle of why am I doing this and who am I to be doing this, and all of the other negative self-doubt that comes with it. The new neural pathways that I create in my brain through changing my mindset and changing the way that I think, much more colourful, much more inviting. There's a lot more opportunity there for me, and it's a much nicer place to be. So what we focus on grows. Why am I showing you a picture of a miniature donkey when we're talking about mindset? Social media. If you click on something like a miniature donkey or a baby goat or 80s music, comedy shows, whatever it is that you might click on and engage with on social media, so, oh, I'll have a look at that. You like it, you watch the video, you comment, whatever. Your newsfeed then is flooded with more miniature donkeys or 80s music or comedy shows. Yeah. We know how the social media algorithms work, right? They think, right, she's interested in miniature donkeys. Let's show her more of them. And we start to see them all over our social media feed. They like to show us what they think we are interested in. And our brain works in exactly the same way. If you are thinking about painting your front door hot mustard or bright yellow, you are going to start seeing yellow front doors everywhere. And you're going to start seeing yellow everywhere, and you'll start to see yellow front doors. You might have noticed it in the past when you're thinking of buying a new car. I might get a red one of a certain model, and you start to see that car everywhere. That is our brain at work. We have, between the conscious and the subconscious mind, a little something called the reticular activating system that is working like the social media algorithms. It filters out all of the, I don't know how many, all the bits of data that are coming our way all at once. And it draws to our attention and our focus what it thinks we want to see more of based on what it thinks we are interested in. So we want to train it to show us more things that we want to be interested in, more positive, motivational and inspirational things. And one of the ways that we can do that is with a model from positive psychology. So this is the PERMA model by Martin Seligman, who's one of the founders of positive psychology. And it's a simple little formula that says that if we have lots of positive emotions, and I know there's some of you here have done the emotions coaching training with Joe and Zoe. So, but even those of you that haven't, what are your favorite positive emotions? What are the positive emotions that you like to have in your life? Mine are things like curiosity and joy or inspiration. What are some of the positive emotions that you like? When we have lots of positive emotions, when we are fully engaged and in flow with what we're doing, when we are doing things that we really love, that we get completely absorbed in, and time flies when we're doing it, and we're really engaged in that moment, when we've got good, strong, supportive relationships behind us, and when we are doing lots of things that give us meaning and purpose, and we are feeling a good sense of accomplishment, when we have all of those things in our life, that's when we flourish. That's when we are at our best, when we are, life is good and we are happy and we're flourishing. So what I would love for you to do is to have a little think and work through this, and to go through each one and score it on a scale of 1 to 10, where 10 is flourishing. My cup is full with this. So much of this in my world is brilliant. And 1 is, not so much, need to do a little bit more here. So on a scale of 1 to 10, if you want to put it in the chat, feel free to put it in the chat, but write it down on a piece of paper. And you can always put in the chat about some of the things that you think you would like to do more of. So what positive emotions would you like to have more of in your life? And who and what inspires you? How can you bring more of that into your world? Yeah, there's a great thing there in the chat. Very good. Go to bed with a positive thought or feeling or emotion, and you'll wake up with it in the morning. Try it tonight. I like that one. So who and what inspires and motivates you? How can you bring more of that into your world? Do you practice gratitude? Gratitude is scientifically proven to help to create new neural pathways in the brain. It releases feel-good chemicals when we do it. If it's something that you've never done before and it feels a bit weird to start with, once you start doing regularly, practicing gratitude and do it more often, you will start to find gratitude coming at you from places that you wouldn't have imagined, because the brain just starts to see gratitude, and you find gratitude everywhere. Mindfulness is another great thing to do to really help with our thoughts and how we are thinking about things. Do you visualize your success? Visualizing your success is a great way to get your positive emotions going and feel sort of inspired and motivated. Accepting praise, that's a lovely one. Yes, absolutely, accepting praise. Sometimes actually we don't accept praise very well, do we? We can give praise, but actually not accept it quite so well. On a scale of 1 to 10, where are you with positive emotions? Engagement, flow. What do you love? What absorbs you? So engagement is all about when we're really in the moment, when we're doing something that time just flies. When I was a kid or a teenager, I used to read lots and lots of books. I don't get the chance to do it quite so often anymore. But I could read a book in a day, and it would be, I suddenly realize it's 3 o'clock in the morning and I've just been lost in this book, much to my parents' concern, because it was always so, I'd just get so lost in the book and read it until I finished it. What do you do these days where you get really absorbed in something? And what are you good at? Doing things that we're good at, that we really enjoy, really helps to increase that feeling of engagement. But also, I think, with the world, the way that we live today, we get so many distractions. It's so busy. How often do we really spend the time doing something with our full focus and engagement on it? Don't tell me, but how many of you are sitting here half listening to me, half doing your emails, checking your phone and thinking about what you're going to do this evening or later and the meetings that you've got to go to? We do it all the time, don't we? We just are multitasking all the time because we're so busy. When you really focus in on something and give it your full attention as much as possible, you just get so much more out of that if it's something that you are enjoying. So thinking about, how often you are doing things that you're fully engaged with, or that give you that feeling of being in flow and just, everything's great. What can you do to bring more of that into your world? Paddleboarding. Yes, I can see Angela. Yeah, paddleboarding. It's not something that I've tried yet. I'm a bit scared of it, I must admit. But I know people that do it, and absolutely, it just is really something that absorbs them. Next one is relationships. So we all know unhealthy relationships aren't good for us, don't we? When you run your own business, unless you're doing it in partnership with somebody else, it can get really lonely. It can be really tough. Having good supportive relationships around you are so important. And even sometimes when it's our friends or family, they don't quite get it if they're not self-employed themselves or running their own business, because they don't see it from the same way that you do. So who are your cheerleaders? What support networks do you have? Accountability groups, memberships. When you have other people supporting you in the background, it makes a world of difference. I can't tell you how brilliant it has been to see the speakers at this coaching summit, and Joe and Zoe and Shay, everybody supporting each other behind the scenes, cheering each other on, giving time to each other to prep and just help each other out. It's been a really lovely thing to see, really uplifting. So who are your cheerleaders? Who's out there rooting for you? Working with a coach is a great way of getting somebody who is in your corner, absolutely cheering you on and fully supporting you. Business mentors also are somebody that can be really good to work with. Oh, thank you. This session's really hitting home. Good. So on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you with relationships? What can you do to bring more? I'm overusing the word positive, aren't I? Although maybe you can't overuse the word positive. Not in a toxic positivity kind of way, but who in your world inspires you? Who can Who's there to support you, and how can you get more of that in your world? Meaning and purpose. I think if you are somebody who's thinking of running your own business one day, or you're already there, then maybe you're going to be starting a coaching business at some time when you finished your training. Having your own business gives us meaning and purpose, really, before we've even started, because if you're passionate about doing something, something that you want to put out in the world and do, then you've got purpose there automatically, haven't you? It's something that we feel so strongly about. It gives us so much meaning and purpose. Slightly different when you are perhaps working in a job that you know, even if it's a job that you love, sometimes you don't have that same connection of the meaning and purpose. And then you look for it in other ways, like doing things outside of work that give you your meaning and purpose. So how clear are you on your values? Are you doing things that are aligned with your values, that give you, and you have purpose? Do you know why you're doing what you do? What's your purpose and your why? Really getting down into that can make such a difference. And are you being intentional in what you do? Are you being purposeful about what you do? Are you setting yourself goals so that you kind of know where you're going and that you're doing things with purpose and intent? Or are you just winging it to see where things go? Think about what you can do to focus in on the meaning and purpose that you have. Have I got a plan? We need a plan. We need a plan. We need a purpose. We want to, to be able to really set ourselves goals and to be able to give us that feeling of accomplishment. So it's really important that we get this feeling of accomplishment. Now, this doesn't have to be like a massive, let me just close that. It doesn't have to be a massive climbing mountains and running marathons to be an accomplishment. Accomplishment sometimes is getting up, getting dressed, getting showered, and getting in front of the laptop and getting over the brain fog that Lynn was talking about in her session yesterday with menopause. Success looks different to everybody. Don't compare your accomplishments and your success to other people's. It's all about what works for you. So, are you setting well-formed, achievable goals in your business, giving yourself something to work towards? Do you know what your strengths are? Are you recognizing and celebrating your strengths? And are you celebrating what is going well? Are you busy beating yourself up about the things and feeling frustrated about the things that you're not doing? Or are you remembering to celebrate all of the things that you have done, all of the things that you've achieved, and all of the things that you are still doing? You're here, you're showing up. I am going to be celebrating my accomplishment of being here today and getting through this coaching summit, and I will probably going to be celebrating for the rest of the month. So where are you on a scale of 1 to 10 with your feeling of accomplishment? And what you can do is you can apply this to life, you can apply this to business, you can apply this to all sorts of things, and you can work through and think about, where are you now on a scale of 1 to 10? You can think about, where would I like to be in a month's time, 3 months' time? What score do I want to get to? How can I get to a 10 in each of these and really feel like I am flourishing? What can you do to improve your score? So I would love to know, don't worry about doing all 3, pick one of these. Thinking about what we've talked about today, what will you do more of? What will you do less of? And what will you stop doing? Less self-doubt. Pick one and put one in. Goal setting, good one. Yeah. What will you do more of? What will you do less of? I'm going to try to stop mind reading. Now that you know, I'm sure that I do it, and I think I'm mind reading, stop. Less negative self-talk, meaning and purpose, overthinking. Look to find more opportunities to be in flow. less overthinking and procrastinating, less self-doubt, comparison, less comparison, yeah. Oh, a few less comparisons. Give myself permission to spend time on the things I enjoy. I love that. That is brilliant. It is about giving ourselves permission, isn't it? More celebrating successes. Wonderful. So I promised that I would introduce myself at the end. So hi everyone, I'm Sarah. I'm a positive mindset coach. I'm sure you can tell I'm passionate about positive psychology and all things mindset. I've always been fascinated with how our minds work. My degree is in psychology, long time ago. I trained with Joe and Zoe, finished my training last year, and now I'm a positive mindset coach. Some of the coaches among you will recognize it's cognitive behavior coaching. But I work mainly with solopreneurs and small business owners to help people to get unstuck, stop standing in their own way, and be more of their brilliant self in life and business. And I thought the best way for me to for you to see a little bit about me is for me to share my vision board with you. So this sits on my desktop PC. This is what I see every morning when I log on to my laptop. And these are the things that I'm doing in my life to help me flourish. These are the things that give me meaning and purpose, and the positive emotions like joy and awe. Coaching brings me so much joy, but I look for awe every day, just like sunsets and looking at the stars at night. I love your vision board. Thank you. Yeah, it's great, isn't it? Somebody else showed me how to do it, and I did it on Canva, and now it sits on my desktop. And it's a lovely little inspiration every time I see my desktop to remind myself what I'm doing. And as I achieve things, then I swap them out and do something else. So that's me. If you would like to stay in my world or connect with me, I have a page on my website that has got all of my links. So you will find me hanging about on Facebook and on Instagram. I have a Facebook group for solopreneurs, all about mindset and motivation and accountability, and it's called Be Fabulous. You're very welcome to join my Facebook group. You will find me on LinkedIn sometimes, not there quite as often as I probably think I should be. But yeah, you'll find all my links on my website, where you can subscribe to my newsletter. So that is me. I'm going to stop sharing now so that I can see your lovely faces and see the chat. Yeah. Oh, wonderful. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Sarah. There's so many lovely comments in the chat for you. Obviously, you'll be able to read those after, but I just wanted to pick out a couple there for you. There's someone who's put lots of reflection here for me, so thank you. And this session is really hitting home for me. So yeah, it's really resonated with a lot of people there. So yeah, fantastic. We've just got a moment. If anybody has got a question for Sarah, then feel free. Otherwise, you can pop questions into our Facebook pop-up group. Which I know Sarah's been popping in there as well. Oh, sorry, Amanda's just raised her hand. Did you want to go quickly?
Yeah, it was a lovely session. Thank you, Sarah. One of the things that I'm really struggling with at the moment is knowing when someone's self-belief is so deep that they actually need a therapist rather than a coach. It seems to be quite a fine line for me sometimes.
That's a really good question. I guess it would depend a little bit on the experiences and what's happened in the past, and whether there is some trauma there and some things. And I think if as a coach it's something that you don't feel quite equipped to go down, then that ethically for me that means definitely stepping back and sort of saying, you know, I'm not a therapist, this is what I can help you with, but actually that may be something that you maybe would like to speak to somebody else about, if that's something, you know, because obviously we're looking forward, aren't we? We're looking for solutions and we're looking to forward. Unless you've had that training, because it's very specialist training, then pointing that out, that you can only help them with so much, and that if it's something that is, you know, really deeply trauma related, which possibly it would be from if it's something that is so deep, some people just aren't so self-reflective, and sometimes it takes a little while for somebody to warm up a little bit. Yeah, I would gauge it on that. Does that help, Amanda?
It does. It's really difficult, but yeah, I think it's just using your judgment. And I'm always going to err on the side of pushing them towards a therapist, because if I think I can't get through to them, which are 3 or 4 sessions in, I think becomes quite clear. Yeah. Well, thanks, Sarah.
Okay.
Just very quickly, Sarah, before I close up, what was the name of your Facebook group? Someone's asking.
It's called Be Fabulous. It's a good question. I don't know what is my Facebook group. Yeah, it's called Be Fabulous, but I can't remember.
We'll share it in the pop-up group.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us this morning. We've got a few more sessions obviously going on today, so I will be closing this session down and reopening again for 11 o'clock. Thanks again, Sarah.
Thanks everyone for joining me. Enjoy the rest of the summit.
I also have one quick